Fares just keep going up. Whose fault is it? Some fares could be as high as $2.25. That's ludicrous. Speaking of which, rappers are getting political in a presidential election year. Realistic expectation or obvious oxymoron? MySpace or Facebook, which do you prefer? And to evict or not to evict, Sheriff Tom Dart joins us in the second half. Fasten your seatbelts. Red Eye columnist Kyra Kyles joins me for a buffet of topics on tonight's Garrard McClendon Live. Welcome to Garrard McClendon Live. The CTA has been heavy in the news this week, and it seems that everyone has an opinion. Fare increases have been proposed, which may place a strain on faithful riders. Bringing controversial commentary to the CTA, hip-hop, and social networking sites is Red Eye columnist Ms. Kyra Kyles. Kyra, welcome to Garrard McClendon Live.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Girl, this Red Eye is off the hook. I love reading the newspaper. You
Thank you.
You just look for a red box in Chicago.
That's right. We want you to look for them.
And you can get to Kyra Kyles.
That's right.
You know, Kyra, first of all, before we get into the other three topics, which are much lighter, I noticed that you wrote an article called Senseless Violence on the CTA. You expressed condolences to the family. Just give us your thoughts about that whole situation. It looks as if the suspect has been charged.
That's correct, and that was after a kind of a dramatic turn-in. He turned himself into a church. His mother was pleading on TV, please, they see you in the surveillance video, turn yourself in. And it's just an example of what can sometimes be unavoidable violence in Chicago. I don't think we can blame the CTA per se, as some people have, just because what are they going to do? Put, metal detectors on a bus, make things slower? They can't really do anything about this, but just the notion that someone would fire a gun into an enclosed space like that and striking and taking this young girl's life, it just really touched me. So I wrote about it on my Going Public blog, and that's kind of where I and other readers express their opinions about things going on the CTA.
Yeah, last night we got tons of messages on the Garrard McClendon Live voicemail line, and people were almost crying in the telephones, Kyra. I mean, saying, this is terrible. When is all of this going to stop?
No, I completely agree. I can understand that. When I was reading the article just about the mother pleading for her son to turn himself in, whether he did or didn't do it, I have to admit that I teared up. It's just sad that someone has to be put in that position to ask their child to turn themselves in, and especially she was probably touched as a mother to see another woman lose her child over really nothing. It was nothing at all, just a little brush on a bus, and it ends up with this young girl losing her life. And it happened a year ago with the Holt family, and we were all touched by that, where that high school student actually tried to protect another classmate and ended up dying for it. So this is just silliness that has to stop. It might be rare, but you know what? One time I think is too much for something like this.
Truly, truly. And, we really appreciate you writing that, giving condolences to that family. Let's shift gears.
Sure.
CTA raising fares. Come on now, Kyra.
Yes.
Pretty soon people won't be able to afford it.
Well, we have to look at it in perspective, though. When you go to the gas pump, you're feeling a lot more pain than you are even if there is the CTA fare hike. Of course, nobody wants a hike, and I really feel like we shouldn't be in this position. Our federal government, our state government should put a lot more stake in public transportation. If you're telling people we need to get rid of this addiction from foreign oil, then why are you not encouraging people to take public transportation? And part of that is not by just saying take it, it's by making it good enough to take. I mean, we've got old buses, we've got ancient rail cars running out there. We really need to do something about this. So unfortunately, the public is again going to have to kick in. We're already paying some of our real estate tax transfers to this cause, and now we're going to have to dig in our pockets a little bit deeper.
Yes, Kyra, put you on the spot here. Should seniors ride free? Come on now.
Well, let me tell you this. I have had seniors email me saying, please don't let me ride for free. I don't need it. I can get where I need to go. I can afford the small fare that I was charged in the first place. If this means that everyone has to suffer, I don't really want the free fares. And I've seen that a lot more than I have seen seniors saying, hey, we deserve this. Now, we all have grandmothers and grandfathers. I wouldn't want anyone to say that my grandfather couldn't ride the bus for free. But at the same time, look at what it's doing to the system. The CTA says that this isn't really the biggest part of why we're going to have to pay this fare hike, but it is a part of that. And I just wish that the governor had not tacked this on to the doomsday. It was kind of a cheap move to, at the last minute, okay, I'll pass it, but guess what? seniors get to ride free. And this is going to be at a cost of $30 million in 2009, because people are taking advantage of this. If they said, you know, people with asymmetrical haircuts could ride for free, you know, I would be on it. So I can't blame them. I can't blame the seniors, but it seems like it's not working out.
And I would go out immediately and tell my barber to give me an asymmetrical haircut.
You can get on that bus and that train for free. I know.
Oh, man. Hey, Kyra, this is exciting. I need you to hold tight.
We believe that incrementally we're going to be able to continue to make improvements. The reality of the type of improvements that our customers want to see is a modernized CTA. That simply will not happen without a capital bill. It's unreasonable for us to stand up here and tell you it's going to happen, because it will not.
Hey, I'm convinced. Welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. I'm convinced, you know what, when you're handsome, you get away with more. Handsome Huberman. You've seen the paper, or at least the red boxes all around Chicagoland. Red Eye columnist Kyra Kyles joins me to discuss realism, surrealism, and the absurd. Kyra, welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live.
Thank you.
Let's shift gears and go to the so-called political rappers. Talk to me.
So-called? Why do you say that?
You know, I'm going to mention the names that you mentioned in the article.
Fine.
Girl, you talked about, you mentioned Common,
yes.
Bow Wow, Young Jeezy, and T.I.
I sure did.
Go for it.
Okay, well, the thing is, a lot of people have been talking about the death of hip-hop, how hip-hop doesn't add anything positive to our culture, American culture as a whole. And as a matter of fact, people have said that it takes away, and in some cases, it convinces people to be more violent, you know, more sexual, that it's just nothing good. But I would argue, rather, that as we approach the general elections, that rappers are really doing their part to make people aware. Get up, turn off. T.I. made a statement today. Turn off the PlayStations, turn to CNN. Find out what's going on in your political environment, make your choice about who you should vote for. And he can't vote. He's a convicted felon, practically, can't vote. But I think it's great that instead of using your forum to tell people what kind of rims to buy and what kind of women to like and what kind of that kind of foolish materialistic thing, I think it's great that they're lending their voice to a cause that is important.
Yeah, but you know, T.I. and Young Jeezy, you know they're still going to do that. Come on now,
Kyra. No, I will say this. Young Jeezy, for the first time, has registered to vote. Now, this is a grown man. The fact that he was willing to go, bring the photographers with him, let people see him being photographed, that will make a difference to somebody who wouldn't listen to, you know, say, a political figure telling them to do the same thing. That Barack Obama or anyone else, or Sarah Palin, John McCain, telling them the same message, they might not hear it the same way. So I think it's great that he would be willing to do that. He doesn't have to.
You're absolutely right. Sometimes the person that's remote is the person that children listen to most.
Right.
You may do what your uncle tells you, but you may not do what your parents tell you. So that person is just as important. You know what, Kyra, I'm going to the phones. I'm going to D. D, thank you for calling Garrard McClendon Live. What's your comment?
My comment is, I want to say this to Kyra. I didn't hear everything she said in the beginning, but I want to let her know that I'm a senior citizen, and all the senior citizens I know, we are grateful that the governor lets us ride the buses free. During the time that we ride the buses are empty anyway. During the middle of the day, they're going to run down the street empty, we can ride them.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. If there's capacity.
The train.
Right.
So I don't know why anybody, I don't know where neighborhood or who she's been talking. I know as a South Sider of Chicago, we black senior citizens, I don't know about nobody else, we don't get that much money. We can't even get our teeth filled at the dentist. So this right here is like an inspiration for us to get out and go see a friend during the day, spend an hour or so and come back. Well, we didn't have this extra money to pay this high bus fare. So I just want to her to know that that's what I'm calling for.
That's a fair comment. And again, I said I'm hearing from different people. You know, I'm glad to hear from D too, what she's seeing. The fact of the matter is, though, it is costing the CTA $32 million. They're saying they're $42 million in the hole. So every little bit helps. And it's just that anybody riding, you know, if those buses are empty, that's another problem we should look at. Why are the buses empty during that time period? Right,
that's
exactly.
That's a good point. And, you know, I do agree with the caller, D, but I've got to go with you as well, Kyra, because, you know, if you can afford it, come on, go ahead and pay.
Right, if you can afford it. And it's a reduced fare. And they should not have to pay a lot in order to ride the system. It should be, public transportation should encourage you to use it. It should never be at a price point where you won't use it. That's the whole point. You know, if you have all this money, you're going to take a limo or you're going to take a cab. That's what public transit is for. But what I'm saying is if you see the system crumbling underneath you, everybody's going to have to kick in. I mean, students are going to have to pay more under this new plan. Reduced fares are going to stay the same, but everybody's going to have to dig in a little bit deeper. And know, I love you, D, and I wish you happy bus rides. But again, there are some seniors who feel that this is not necessary and they wish that the governor had not done this.
We love you, D.
We
It's all
do.
good.
It's all good.
It's all good. Hey, I'm going to Bill. Bill, thanks for calling Garrard McClendon Live. Bill, what's your comment?
Couple things. Number one, I'm glad they threw the book at that clown who got on TV said it wasn't him. That young girl, she didn't even have to lose her life like that over something stupid. Come on now. And two, these free rides for seniors, no, stop that. That's why CTA is so far in the red right now.
He's going to get him.
Come on, Bill. Don't you think that's being a little insensitive to
Said,
seniors?
Stop it.
I mean, they've been driving these reduced fares all this time, but come on now.
Yeah, I feel you. Hey, thanks for the call, Bill. I appreciate it. You know, Kyra, I mean, we got D calling us saying, hey, let the seniors ride
Bill
free.
said,
and
"Stop
then
it."
Bill comes in with the knockout
He
punch.
said, stop it. Just literally stop it.
Unreal.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I'm telling you. You know, Kyra, just quickly, let's get back to these rappers. I'm glad that there is some responsibility taking place, but come on, shouldn't some of that lyrical content change?
You know what, Young Jeezy's, not like I'm the biggest Young Jeezy fan, because I actually am not really a big fan of him. I'm a fan of what he's doing. His album is called The Recession, and he's actually toned down his lyrics to stop being so materialistic, because it really is insensitive. Now, some of this is a money ploy. His listeners are not going to embrace him if they feel like he's putting it in their faces like, I've got all this stuff and you don't. So some of it is that. But I think another part is rappers are maturing and they're realizing, yes, our behavior and what we do impacts the people we listen to. If these are our fans that love us, why can't we show some love back and treat them with some respect? And like I said, Common does this all the time. You know, I don't want to, Dead Prez, other rappers really do this all the time. So it's just good to see some mainstream rappers doing it.
Okay, Kyra, before I go to break, MySpace or Facebook, talk to me.
Facebook.
Oh! Why?
Facebook is just clean, bright, beautiful, fun. MySpace is like party promotions, ridiculous greeting cards. Horrible. I can't take it.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. I'm canceling my Black Planet, my LinkedIn, all of that
Get rid
stuff.
of all that extra stuff.
I think I'm going to stay with MySpace as well. Kyle's from the Red Eye newspaper. RedEyeChicago.com is where to reach her. Kyra, thanks for being on Garrard McClendon
for having
Live.
me. Appreciate it.
Hey, give me a call right now, 630-575-TALK. Coming up next, more Garrard McClendon Live. Hit me up. Stay with me 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
Basically, what I got out of it is the poor is going to get poor and the rich is going to get richer. I don't understand now when they need a plan and a solution to this problem. For us, what about the poor people? What about us? We don't have anything. The low-income people, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. And I didn't hear anything supporting that from Obama or McCain.
Man, I wish we could send all our troops home and gather up all of these young men that's out here acting like they are in Iraq. They got all these guns and everything, shooting people for no apparent reason at all. Send them over there and have them fight the war and send our brothers and sisters home.
You know the truth. People that call Garrard McClendon Live are serious. That was a caller last night that left a message on the Garrard McClendon Live voicemail. Hey, welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. Thanks to Kyra Kyles for the lighter note in the last segment. But evictions are the serious note. Is there help? Sheriff Tom Dart joins us from Tribune Tower. Sheriff, welcome to Garrard McClendon Live.
Hey, Gerard. Thanks for having me on.
You know, Sheriff, please explain this situation. People have been asking me for the last 2 days, how can they get rid of evictions? What does that mean? You know, is this going to make the situation worse for banks and for people who need the money? Talk to me, Sheriff Tom Dart. What's going on?
What we're doing here, Gerard, is actually, frankly, doing what probably should have been done years ago, which is to ensure that people get due process and that they're given the opportunity to come forward into a court to let the court know their legal status in regards to their living arrangements. And what I mean by that is that we have seen in the course of the last 6-8 months this large increase in amount of evictions of houses that we've been asked to do. And when we get there, we find out that the people in there are not the people that we've been led to believe that are supposed to be there. They're renters in a home, and the actual eviction notice is for the owner of the home, who's long gone, who's been collecting rent. And these people have no idea that this is going on. They've been paying their rent on time, and in the meantime, their possessions are either being taken out and put on the curb, or they're being threatened with that. And so we're not doing anything in regards to the eviction proceedings that go on for individuals who are in apartment situations where they have a landlord and there's a tenant, and the tenant is just, frankly, maybe a deadbeat, just not paying. We're not changing anything there. The notice is adequate there. We feel very confident that the right person is there. But when it comes to these foreclosure evictions, where we're dealing with these homes and in some cases condominiums, we're finding numerous situations where the wrong people are in the house. Not wrong in the sense they shouldn't be there, but according to the records we're getting from the bank through the court, it is not the right person. And so we're just we're suspending those evictions until we are going to get the proper information, so that we are absolutely sure that the right people are having, frankly, their life traumatized.
Yeah. Now, Sheriff, help me out, though. I mean, this seems like even more manpower or woman power to try to decipher what's going on with these foreclosures. I mean, isn't that going to be more work and take up more money?
No, I mean, it's quite the opposite, to be honest with you, because what had been going on is that our deputies would go out to a home where they had a eviction notice to evict. They'd come to the door, they'd find a different name of a person at the location. Our deputies would then have to, even though they aren't supposed to be doing any of this, they're just supposed to follow this order. They're then having to take all that information down, then they're having to take that information back to the court to give it to the bank, who should have given it to us in the first place, to then give it to the bank's attorneys, who are then going out supposedly and now giving notice to those people to come up with a new order to evict those people. So what we're saying is that we're not going to be doing your work for you anymore. You, as the bank, the people who are owners of that property, you need to show the due diligence. Go out prior to asking us to evict somebody. Just do basic due diligence. Find out who is the person there and make sure they've been given notice of this proceeding. Whether they're a renter or not, then give that information to the court, and we'll be happy to proceed. But for us to really just be shooting blind here, just hoping it's the right person. And Gerard, we had stories that are heartbreaking stories of people who are playing by the rules, paying their rent in full on time, and yet they're going out to work, their kids are going to school, and they're coming home, and their possessions are out.
Oh. Man, you know, I'm really getting choked up here because I can see a scenario like that taking place. That's ridiculous. Please clarify this, though. What about single-family homeowners? I mean, is this moratorium on evictions going to be the same for them?
The moratorium is on the foreclosure evictions, which covers a lot of those scenarios. It is in all the scenarios where we are not getting the proper information as far as who's in there. And so single-family homes, it could very well be covering all those as well. The key point here, Gerard, is the fact about whether or not it is something where we have assured information of who is in that location. And so as it pertains to houses and condos, those are the ones that we're suspending at this point.
Man, thank you, Sheriff, for your insight and grace on such a critical issue for thousands of people and their families. Please stay with us, Sheriff. We appreciate your service to the community. Garrard McClendon Live continues with voicemail, comments, blog entries.
Shame that the big insurance companies end up taking $400,000 junkets, and then what makes so bad, one company $37.8 billion on top of the $85 billion already lent. How in the world can people go on vacation when you got people surviving to try to keep their houses? I think it's so wrong and unfair. And if it was me, and had something to do with it, hey, these guys wouldn't have got one plug nickel unless the money was governed some kind of way.
Man, welcome back to Garrard McClendon Live. That's Big Calvin leaving me a message. You can always leave a message on my line. You know what? Welcome back to the show. We've got the Sheriff in the mix tonight. Sheriff, hey, give me some closing remarks on people feeling secure about this particular crisis.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of security out there right now, Gerard, in the entire economic world. And we're seeing that here in Cook County with record numbers of eviction orders and the like. What we're attempting to do here, and we can continue to do, is to make sure that in those situations where we have to go to the point where there is an actual eviction, and we are going to put somebody through all of that's involved with an eviction, that we have the right people, that they have been notified, they've had their opportunity to come into court, and that this is not something where honest to goodness, true, innocent tenants are being thrown out onto the streets. And so we're looking for assurances here. We're hoping that members of the mortgage community and the like will come together with us to make sure that we can nail this down, and then we can go forward with things.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Sheriff.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to Kyra Kyles from the Red Eye, Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart, and you for participating in true First Amendment television. Call me after the show, 630-574-3232. I can't wait to hear your comments. You know the routine. Keep your head up and always be encouraged. Ask or ask, Donda's rules, suit shoes. McClendonReport.com.